Welcome back to another 3D comparison video. We are gonna compare 4 solutions. So this will be generative AI for 3D modeling, and the case study will be the following table. So I took this photo yesterday, and weirdly enough, when I added it on 2 platforms, the table output had 4 legs. So we clearly see that this has 3 legs. I also cropped this. We see it over here. So it's not, let's say, the best crop, but this should do the work and help that model if the cropping will not work that well directly on their platform. So let's get started. The first one will be Trellis. Now for this, I don't have an account, and you can also buy additional credits so you can generate more. So let me add that table. You're gonna see the photo of the table will be this one. So we have this image prompt added. We see the cropping. So just as I said, the cropping on some of these online tools will be a little bit tricky if there are some other elements. So I will generate it like this, but considering that the segmentation of the image is this bad, the output will most likely not have those 3 legs as the table should have. So I decided not to speed up this video to show exactly the speed of each of these tools. So we have Trellis over here. We have the generated 3D asset. This should be close to finish, and we have an error over here. Let me just swap that, and I'm gonna add the crop table in this case. And we see the crop table will look like this. I'm gonna hit generate, and let's see if the AI tool will manage to recreate the 3D model based on this single image input. Again, we have an error over here. Let me try to generate this again. Since with Trellis I don't have an account, I see that in some cases it will not work that well. Let me just swap it over here. So I will go on to Brave, and I will redo the same input. So we see this being loaded quite slowly in my opinion. So let's have that table. On my desktop table, we have the initial one, which I would like the platform to mask. Again, we see how poorly it did that. So I'm just gonna add the cropped one. And let's see if within Brave this will generate. Usually Trellis works. So let's take a look. As you can see, if the image has an alpha, okay, and we have the output. So within Chrome it didn't work, but over here it works. So we see that. And now if I want to extract the GLB, I need also to have it extract over here. So in this case, I will go for a GLB, not for a Gaussian model. And we see that we are currently waiting for the GPU to become available. And we have this added to the processing. So this is estimated roughly around 14 seconds. Since I cropped the image myself, I see that I added some small areas still have detail, and that was also added within this, as we can see it over here. So I could have cropped that better. And we have the model. The model should load and be interactable over here within the platform. So let's see. I'm gonna click over here on download. Okay, and we have the model. And the main, let's say, output of this is that the table will have those 3 legs. So this is really good. Now I will go over here on Tripo, and as you can see, the same image, but this is the one that hasn't been cropped. I added this to Tripo, so this will be the second tool that we are gonna take a look within this video, and we see the output will be like this. So even though within the image, as we can see it over here, It didn't have any information regarding what's exactly under the table. The tool decided to make it like this, and what is really weird is that we have 5 legs over here. Now let's go to Tripo and I will input the cropped image. So I go over here to single image and I want to add the crop table. I'm going to click on generate and we're going to see how fast Tripo will process this. Again, I will not speed up the video. I will add sections within YouTube so you can jump directly and see those. We see this now generating. As you can see, subscribe to enjoy higher generation speed. So keep in mind that for Tripo, I'm using the free account, and you will have 600 credits that you can use each month. And I'm sure that it will work a lot faster with the paid account. So while this is being generated, and we already see the model. So now within the crop version, we're gonna have 3 legs for the table. Some of those legs will not be that well aligned. As we can see, the table looks like this, so not very stable, especially for one of those legs. This leg is quite well defined, and this one a little bit inclined, so quite a lot. I'm really curious regarding texturing because we already saw that it added also this additional geometry within the image that wasn't visible. So as you can see it over here, it didn't have information regarding what is under the table and how those legs are connected. And we see that based on the information that this tool has regarding round tables, it decided to add an additional extrusion over here. Now we are within the texturing phase, so this shouldn't take that long. And from my experience, I have noticed that the textures within Tripo will be a lot better than other solutions. So over here within Trellis, we have those added highlights, just like we had within the original image. So we see the light onto the glossy black surface of the table. And this is, let's say, slightly defined over here. It's not exactly the same. We see those lines. Over here we don't have those. And now within Tripo, this should be quite finished. So this should be the last step, as we can see it over here on the texturing. Again, the four solutions that we are going to compare, I started with those that I don't have an account. So for CSM and for Vizcom, I have access to paid accounts, and we're gonna see that that will make a difference regarding this, especially regarding the speed. And now this should be done. So okay, and now we have the model being loaded. And the loading went quite fast. Okay, so we have the table. I will click in order to open this within a new window. And within the new window, the table will look like this. So we see the materials. So they are quite glossy over here, but we can change that. But overall, I really like the fact that the table will only have 3 legs. Over here on the bottom, it added a lot of geometry, and I don't know exactly why, because it didn't have any reference over there. And it could have considered that, okay, maybe the table shouldn't have all those added lumps over there. But overall, if you want to use this as a prop within a scene, maybe within a VR environment, and it will not be right straight, let's say, in the middle of the room, it can work as a prop over there. Now, let's jump over here within Chrome, and I will go to CSM, and I will add a single image. So I will go on the desktop, on the table, and I will choose the one that hasn't been cropped, and I will do the sculpt with texture, and I want this to have quads and high poly. So I'm going to click next. This will start process. See that this has taken one credit over here, and I'm gonna add the one that I cropped. Again, sculpt with texture, quads. I also have access to refine with texture, but we see that this will take an hour. So that's more than I would like. And we have this now added to the queue. We see it over here, sculpt queued. If I will enter within this session, we're going to see that this will start generating shortly. So meanwhile, I will also want to jump within Vizcom because CSM moves a little bit slower compared to the others. So let's jump within Vizcom. Over here, I'm going to add that image. So I'm going to go over here, upload image. I'm going to use the one that hasn't been cropped. And I want to generate a detailed smooth mesh over here. We see that we have multiple options, so we can go for detail sharp and detail smooth. Initially, I'm going to go with detail smooth over here. So let's take a look at that. We see this being processed. Meanwhile, we'll jump over here and see if this has started processing. So we still see that this is being added to the queue. So maybe their servers are a little bit busy at the moment. If I'm going to jump back within Vizcom, we're going to see how this will start to generate. And what I like about Vizcom is that we're going to have all these as additional layers. And even the 3D model will be added as a layer over here. So we can then choose the actions over here and we can have this exported. We see the file format GLB, OBJ, STL, and USDZ. So mostly the GLB, let's say, will be the most commonly used in this case. And again, this is still being processed. I will jump back over here. I'm really curious if this one started. As we can see, this is within the queue as well. So maybe it takes a little bit longer. We see that the segmented mask hasn't been processed for this one over here. You see the original image, and the mask still doesn't have an update. And over here masking should be easier since that has already been cropped. Now we have the one in Vizcom, so I will position it over here. And what do we see over here? We're gonna see 4 legs. But overall we see the geometry of the underlying of the table a lot better than the one from Tripo. So this will be with smooth. I'm gonna hide that. I'm gonna go back to the image over here, and I will want to generate a detail sharp again with this one that hasn't been cropped, and we're gonna see how that will look differently. Again, for Vizcom, what I like is the fact that we have the layers over here. We see this as a 3D model. We'll have that cube over here on the top, and we can easily hide and work with those. With CSM, I still see that this is being processed. I also made some tests previously regarding this. So we see the segmented masks and we're gonna see the output mesh. I still haven't opened this. So while we are waiting, I decided to take a look at this. And over here we see that the multi-image failed with alignment. Overall the shape is really good, but this has been duplicated. So if you are familiar with 3D scanning, this is something that happens when you don't have those well aligned, all the scans. I'm really curious if within the other session it's a little bit differently. Over here I only added one side, and this will be really well aligned and also really well designed. So we see the top, we also had this top reference added, and the bottom. And the bottom is really nice because if you're gonna take a look over here, we're gonna have that red area in front and over here on the back. Okay, this is red, and within the mask it shouldn't have been. But overall, this is a really good model. Now let's see if the table has started, and as you can see, it still hasn't started. And within Vizcom, this was with sharp, and again I didn't crop the image, and we see how well this model has been defined. We have some black texture over here on the wooden section, but that can be easily changed within Blender. We can have that retextured. Now I'm gonna hide those, and I will add an additional image. In this case I want to use the crop table, and with the crop table I want to generate the detailed smooth. So we see that this is still being generated, so most likely I'm gonna add this section at the end of the video, and during post-processing I will add the CSM output, and I will also discuss the aspects regarding the processing time for this, because this still hasn't been loaded. But I want to finish with Vizcom over here, because until now I see that the best results are within Vizcom. And also regarding the processing speed, this is pretty fast. Okay, so this hasn't been started yet, but this model should finish quite within a few seconds. And also one thing that Vizcom has and the other tools don't, we can then use this as an input, and we can start generating other outputs, and we can then create more 3D models. And this will be the model. What I don't like is the fact that we're gonna have 4 legs. So most likely Vizcom, let's see, the database has a lot of tables with 4 legs. But overall I really like the texture on the top. We're gonna see how those lines will look. So a lot better than within the other solutions. Now let me hide that, and I'm gonna try once again, but in this case I'm gonna go with sharp, and let's see if this has started. As we can see, this is still being added to the queue. Okay, and if I will unhide this, we're gonna see that over here we're gonna have that those 3 legs. But again, in this case, one of the leg is not very well aligned. As you can see it over here, it will have a change within the angle over here. But since this image hasn't been cropped, we're also gonna have those elements on the bottom of each leg. Over here within the cropped image, I also cropped those when I did the cropping. So we have this with 4. So it only managed to create the 3-leg chair within this session over here, starting with the original one over here, the original image that hasn't been cropped. Now let's take a look over here at the model, because this should generate now. So this has been smooth, sharp, and with sharp we had 3 legs. This has been smooth, we had 4 legs, and this has been set to detail sharp, and I hope that it will also have 3 legs as within the reference. Again, CSM hasn't added those to the queue, so maybe they have some problems with the waiting queue now. And this will be the table. It will have 3 legs. So as we can see, the generate 3D detail sharp in this case will maintain the number of legs, but on the bottom it has additional lumps, just like the model created using Tripo. Now overall, from this perspective, this will be the best output, as we can see it. So rotated something like this, it will look like this. But if I will unhide this, we're gonna see that the bottom for this table will be the most well defined. Okay, so I will stop the video over here and I will add a section with the CSM results. Okay, and we have the models from CSM ready. So let's take a look at the first model. This will be the table uncropped, and this will be the output. In this case, we see the model has been rotated 90 degrees, but overall, the table will look pretty decent. So if I'm gonna rotate it like this, we're gonna see those legs. They are not that well aligned, but not as deformed as other models. Also, for the underside over here of the table, it will have those added dots, but the texture on the top will look like this. Now, if I will go back and I'm gonna take a look at the model that has been cropped, which is this one, you're gonna see that in this case the table will be better aligned. Also, if I'm gonna rotate underneath the table will look like this. So overall, the output of this model is really good, as you can see it over here. But still, if I will compare this to the output with from Vizcom, some of the models over here will be a little bit better. So for example, this one, we see that the underside of the table will be quite sharp. But considering that in reality the table will actually have those legs added like this, so no additional elements, this will be the most accurate. But again, that is something that the AI cannot know. So in this case, if the input was just an image like this from the top, this is the best output for this. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this kind of content. Let me know in the comment section if you tried any of these tools or if you have some other suggestions for Generative 3D. And if you enjoyed this content, I will also position a similar video over here on the left side and a subscribe button to the right. So that's it. Thanks for watching.